Hi there, and welcome to Celeb Hut. You all. Not the police proof ensnaring Drake for coordinating the taking shots at his own home to escape this beat that he had happening with Kendrick Lamar. Drake has been grinding away with a portion of the business that despises him, yet this hamburger with Kendrick Lamar must be perhaps the nastiest thing that we've seen and rapped briefly anyway. Things went crazy last week when we figured out that Drake's home had been chanced up by some obscure ascents, and fans promptly pointed fingers at Kendrick for requesting this hit, yet from new proof that just got spilled by Toronto's own police. Apparently, Drake could have been behind his own shooting. Supposedly, Drake could have been the cerebrum behind the shooting as a method for quitting the meet between Kendrick. You know, the roads have been blaming him for enormous losses. Drake took a leave, and he never returned. Definitely, there's a ton of madness happening around here, and you all better get in on this since we're going to do some uncovering of Bruiser on the grounds that these subtleties that came from the Toronto police are insane. Police are affirming that a shooting happened outside the home of Canadian rapper Drake in Toronto. This came about coincidentally, right after a raise of meat among Drake and hip-bounce star Kendrick Lamar. This is the scene beyond Drake's home in the city's Marriage Way neighborhood. The graciousness of our CTV News chopper police say a man sustained serious wounds after a shooting outside that home and was taken to an emergency clinic. Police likewise say a suspect escaped in a vehicle, yet no portrayal has been delivered. Such a long way, neighborhood. The graciousness of our CTV News chopper police say a man sustained serious wounds after a shooting outside that home and was taken to an emergency clinic. Police likewise say a suspect escaped in a vehicle, yet no portrayal has been delivered. Such a long way? There's no word on whether Drake was at home at the hour of the shooting, yet we comprehend from the police that he has proposed to completely help out them. You all know that this hamburger between Drake and Kendrick Lamar is quickly becoming one of the most out-of-control and insane things that we've at any point seen, and it is procuring its place among the positions of the most insane and stunning rap meets ever yet. However chaotic as the show may be, no one might have at any point anticipated the insane, unexpected development that went down over the course of the end of the week, since there are new claims that Drake supposedly put out a hit on himself to make it look like either Kendrick or the end of the week put a hit out on him, attempting to get compassion. Up in some serious show with a portion of the business, and it's spiraling wild constantly. At first it was simply him, Metro Boomin Kiarai, and Future trading shots, however. At that point, Kanye West chose to hop in, Rick Ross chose to hop in, and purportedly, the end of the week has been on this hamburger, and right when we believed that things couldn't get any more out of control, Kendrick Lamar went as far as possible in dropping diss track after diss track that shook the entire hip bounce scene. Ooh. At the confrontation between Drake and the end of the week takes the cake for sheer insanity. I mean, Kendrick went hard on Drake. Yet presumably the primary word on the roads is that we can go above and beyond and purportedly put a hit out on Drake. Definitely, I get it. The end of the week appears very lowy and drained by the light and certainly saved, yet you understand what they say. Regarding those tranquil ones, they're the ones you got to keep an eye out for the present. You may be asking why individuals imagine that the end of the week would pursue Drake like that. Well, evidently it's Saint from Drake, probably requesting a hit on somebody from the end of the week's camp half a month prior. Yet concerning Drake, how could he do something like this? Well, everything Ray turns to their hamburger that runs profound. It's not only an individual, not many between them, it's gushed out over to their marks too. OVO and EXO are arguing furiously. So on the off chance that you don't depend on speed on this tattle, let me spill that tea about Drake and the end of the week's set of experiences some time ago when the end of the week was only a new kid on the block in the music game. Drake was quite possibly the earliest large name to pay heed to his ability. I mean, it was clear to everyone that the end of the week was really taking shape, as per reports. Drake's mate and colleague 40 was the first to encounter him at the end of the week, and afterward he brought him into Drake's internal circle. Drake was anxious to carry the end of the week into the crease at his OVO records, in spite of the fact that they hadn't transferred ownership of an arrangement yet. Regardless of not marking an authority contract with the end of the week to join OIO, they held cooperating with Drake, playing a coach job at the end of the week's profession. The end of the week even contributed to molding Drake's 2011 collection, Be Careful, and he was associated with the creative cycle for no less than 4 tracks, except for where it gets unusual. Drake didn't precisely yell from the roofs about the end of the week's commitments to the collection for the most significant length of time. It was like he was keeping it on the low. It was only after a couple of years back that reality truly emerged, and Drake was essentially pushed into a tight spot and needed to give the end of the week props that he was expecting, and he gave him some composing credits on the collection. Take care, Hair Better. Believe it, you. All the end of the week was answerable for cherishing the group. She cherishing the team, adoring the team, and make an effort for myself. And I can see that you've been prac, young lady, you look great. Need you back that recall? Definitely, really, those are a portion of my main tunes on that collection, so the end of the week most certainly had a major hand in making that thing a triumph. In any case, Drake and the end of the week continued to crush. Yet by this point, he was genuinely considering formally carrying the end of the week into the OVO crease since he saw the treasure trove of an ability he had in his grasp. Yet here's the contort. The Weeknd wasn't capable. He was sharp and shrewd as F2. He was focusing on how things functioned at OBO and saw the theme. None of the Drake signs were becoming showbiz royalty to be reasonable for Drake. Dislike, he was purposely keeping craftsmen down. It appears to not actually turn out for of his craftsmen. As a matter of fact, it's a typical event when a craftsman with a very dynamic vocation attempts to adjust their own vocation while sustaining others. The adjusting one profession is enough, yet attempting to remain significant as a craftsman while attempting to construct the vocation of another craftsman is hard as F, and not very many individuals have figured out how to do it. Effectively, take Beyoncé, for instance. She has her own name and has welcomed on a load up a lot of specialists who are real. I gifted and ought to have become famous, too. Yet aside from the Bailey sisters, not a single one of them are truly struck at gold, and even with Chloe and High, their prosperity hasn't precisely been diagram beating. Chloe's performance debut collection didn't precisely really stir things up, selling only 10,000 duplicates in the principal week and scarcely scratching onto the Billboard HW200 at number 119, and that is with Sovereign Honeybee's name backing them. And despite the fact that High made PR, Ogress as an entertainer, particularly last year from music profession, isn't so tremendous as you would expect. She dropped 2 independent tunes last year. In both of those melodies caused a few disturbances via virtual entertainment circulated around the web. Yet neither one of them broke into the fundamental bulletin-sweltering 100-graph solo. To be fair, she has a few spots on other board craftsmen, yet not the major association ones, and that is somewhat odd thinking of her as enormous online entertainment following and general ubiquity. Yet A, she's under the care of Beyoncé, and B, has her own whiz profession to explore, leaving restricted consideration data transmission for her goads. Yet seeing this work out at Drake's OIO mark the end of the week, had a perfectly clear vision of his future, assuming he endorsed to OVO. So he took a brilliant action and need to manage Republic Records back in 2012, beginning his own XO Records. And think about what that choice paid off on the grounds that he had the option to diagram his own course and truly bloom in his profession. Sincerely, on the off chance that he stayed at OVO, he likely could never have been the large genius that he is today. Yet Drake was precisely unsettled about losing his superior rider. He was mad with the end of the week, taking the leap toward Republic Records, and he felt like the end of the week, goodness him. For all the free promotion he gave him some time ago, yet soon after the news broke that the end of the week was dumping G over Yoa Republic. Drake began tossing a gigantic shade at him, calling him out for being traitorous and unreasonable anyway. At the end of the week, I wasn't dissatisfied with Drake. He generally gave Drake his blossoms and recognized the role that Drake played in assisting him with developing his vocation, yet Drake wasn't feeling any part of that in any event. When the end of the week gave him a yell out at a show, this man, Drake, there will be no XO at the end of the week, so kindly make some baller commotion for my tutor, my sibling, and my companion, Drizzy. Drake made a pungent and severe tweet that said, "You will not pull off a thank you and you owe me some help." It appears as though Drake was not going to allow the end of the week to leave easily, particularly when he had dreams of dollar signs moving in his mind. So he chose to play the trivial card when the end of the week and Bella Hadid CED stops. Drake dipped in quicker than you can say bounce back, starting gossipy tidbits about a throw between him and Bella. It was really clear Drake was involving Bella as a pawn to attempt to get under the end of the week's skin. He even dropped a track called Artfulness, where he laid everything out. "I believe that my child should have your eyes. I'm conflicting with my own recommendation. Would it be a good idea for me to do New York? I can't conclude Design Week is more than mine. I couldn't lie. I'd prefer to stay inside, yet the end of the week was not going to allow that to go unaddressed by any stretch of the imagination. And incidentally, he could be similarly as unimportant. He shot back with some serious intensity in his track, lost in the fire-related accident where he tossed some shaded Drake with lines like, "I simply need a child with the right one. I simply need a child with the right, because I can never be the one to conceal one. I would never be the one to stow away you all." That resembled direct H focused on Drake for concealing his child from the world and his reality from the sun. No doubt he stayed quiet about Adonis until Drive blew the cover over the mystery during their hamburger, and the dramatization recently continued to stew on between them, despite the fact that they attempted to get along quite openly, yet assumed that you'd been focusing on the incomparable plant. Subscribe Celeb Hut for more videos.